Hello, everybody. Welcome to the sixth or seventh episode of Daylightcast. We've been gone for 2 weeks, but that shouldn't be a problem anymore. We got a guest here today to discuss with us. Bloodlust again. We're discussing Bloodlust again. But we got the usuals. We got Flair.
Hello, hello.
We got Tofu.
Hey, yo.
We got Ryuri.
Yes, hi.
And we have our guest, Emil,
Good evening, gentlemen.
who will be discussing Bloodlust with us tonight for some time.
Yes.
Gapples isn't here today. Don't know if he will be anytime soon. But that's okay. That's not gonna stop us. So let's get into it. Do we have any arguments that will?
Well,
start?
if you may let me start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, my first thing I would say is that my email in the start was not really about bloodlust. It's just that the conversation about bloodlust does not lead anywhere because I don't think it's ever going to be removed from the game.
You don't think if they were to rebalance the maps, they would remove it?
I do not know. I do not know that specifically. But I have talked to some of the devs using Discord, and they do seem to have the general consensus that Bloodlust is a here to stay mechanic. But we can still discuss Bloodlust. I'm more than willing to do that. But I just wanted to get that little thing out of the way first. Because
okay, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine. Just do whatever you want.
I have a potential solution here. Bloodlust right now, I think it could be shaped into a mechanic that could be fair. With necessary tweaks. A lot of the times, you'll find yourself stuck at a pallet loop. And there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to break line of sight, so you can't really lose the killer, and he'll just wiggle you back and forth on the one side of the pallet loop until he's super turbo speed. There's nothing you can do. So that kind of scenario is unfun. There could be changes made to kind of remove that from the game, but that doesn't mean that everyone wants to play with Bloodlust. Even if it's made to be fair to play around, that doesn't mean it's an enjoyable mechanic to play around or to play against. So it could, if it is here to stay, maybe instead of having it on all killers, we could tweak it to a point of being fair and then slap it on one killer. Potentially. That's the only solution I can think of that would please everyone.
Yeah, I kind of like to think that the whole idea is that we kind of discuss why it shouldn't be here to stay. We can't really decide. We're not the devs. We can't pick and choose what gets put in the game, but we can give them our feedback. Like Bloodlust was I guess it's not that recent anymore. It's been a while now, but it's been like a semi-recently added mechanic. And why not give feedback about it? And I feel like pretty much most of the people that have played the game since the first few months of it being released probably miss a lot of the old ways that chases were and a lot of the old. Hell, I know a lot of people that have quit the game because of what it's turned into. So I feel like it's more of just giving feedback. Like whether or not they want to use that feedback and do what they want with it. Like if they want to keep Bloodlust forever and not listen to a word we say, like that's fine. But I still think that I still think we should give our feedback. I still think it's completely as a matter of fact, I think it's a good thing for us to discuss it and talk about, what the game could become if the maps were better. We've even discussed multiple times in the current state of the game that Bloodlust is kind of, okay and sort of necessary to an extent. But, I think it is good to discuss what could happen if the maps were rebalanced and Bloodlust completely taken away. I think it would be a much healthier game overall for both sides. And I think we all agree on that, to be honest.
I think I'm going to disagree, though.
Okay.
Ooh.
Which is fair.
Yeah. Sorry. When I said we, I meant to say, the people that have been discussing it.
All right. The thing I'm thinking of is basically the way the criticism and the feedback you say that you are creating for bloodlust. I just don't find it very constructive, because the problem is, if you want to remove bloodlust from the game, a whole set of map changes is going to be put in, and that's going to first require a fuck ton of work, basically. And you
Okay.
also have to remove at least some degree of the randomization of the maps.
Absolutely. No, you're correct,
Yeah,
which is definitely we want to see. So randomization of maps. Yeah, we can't have certain palette loops spawning next to certain windows, because that'll create infinite kind of situations. So shit like, the shack window, that can be really fucking toxic if there's an object next to a loop nearby it. Now I think the vault speed has been slowed down enough so that if you can force it at certain angles, it might not be a problem, especially with faster killer vault speed. But yeah, there's definitely, back-to-back T-walls, that shit can create a problem. As far as the amount of actual work required to remove bloodlust, like, we have to look at what is bloodlust absolutely necessary for right now. What would make the game a lot less enjoyable, or dare I say unplayable, if we were to remove bloodlust? And I think it would be the combination of like the back-to-back T-wall kind of setup thing, and windows that would be infinite without bloodlust. But even those windows that are quote-unquote infinite still have the entity blocker to help deal with them, which actually does, proc decently fast with the new killer vault speed. So
But you need to do it like 3 times before it actually happens.
this is true.
It's 3 times at a certain time limit. Yeah.
And it has to be in a chase.
Yep.
Not necessarily.
Really?
No, it's just terror radius. You have to be.
Oh, I always thought it's just you have
Oh,
to be
is
in a
it
chase.
terror radius? I didn't think it was chase. I remember not being in a chase and getting blocked. I didn't know
More you
how
know.
or terror radius sounds right.
It's something along those lines. I've been out of a chase, but I've had windows block when I was in the terror radius. But I also think I have had it not blocked in the terror radius. So it's
think
weird. It's like if you're
if-
just outside of a chase almost.
If it's
Yeah, I
actually
think it's like in a
Terrarius,
chase and then like however many seconds after
Yeah.
a chase ends.
it being
need to
Terrarius
put
makes
on
a lot of more
distressing.
sense.
It's
That would
not
explain
quite
how
just terror
that would
radius,
explain it being like kind of wonky.
But even still, it is on a time limit, and
Yeah.
there is some maps that still have like a true infinite. Like for instance, the wretched shot. If they start looping before you get close enough to them to keep an eye on them for bloodlust, they
Mhm.
can continue looping, and the
Mhm.
loop is so long that they'll never get into the block. They'll never vault the window 3 times, and I don't know what the time limit is. It's like 40, 30 seconds or something. I don't know what the exact time limit is, but they'll never actually loop it enough in that time period. Like you'll just actually get infinite if you
Yep.
run there. It's really weird.
Yes, the same with Ironworks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A couple other maps.
And fractured cowshed, especially if certain windows are open on that map, is also a true infinite.
Shit like that can be dealt with though. Like I don't think it would take a lot of work to drop down some random crate assets we got lying around to increase the loop length for some of these. Or in the case of fractured cowshed, just straight up fucking blowing up one of the windows. Leave
Yeah.
that like an open pathway, then have the one window.
Yeah, exactly. I like okay. The whole like I feel like the whole argument of like, well, them like reworking the maps and all that stuff takes too much work is kind of a weird argument to me, because why wouldn't you want to work on your game? Like, why wouldn't you want to put hard work in your game? Like, why not actually do the right fixes that take time and effort rather than doing like band-aid fixes that just upset people? Like I think
Even
they
then?
have.
Well, I mean, bloodlust have also like increased happiness and enjoyment in the game.
For killers.
Well, yeah.
I think the increased happiness and enjoyment stems from kicking the shit out of people and not bloodlust itself. So
Yeah, I
if we
agree.
tweak the maps to allow killers to kick the shit out of people more easily, and then I think that would be an acceptable substitute for bloodlust. Unless you disagree, is there? Which part
Well, I
of
mean-
bloodlust do you think makes people happy?
Well, I mean, I find the way that it cuts chases short is really excellent. and the way I then have more time to run away from the hook and go chase someone else.
But like hypothetically, what if the maps were just designed well enough that chases didn't last that long anyway, as long as you played well? Like assuming you play well as killer, your chases wouldn't last that long anyway, even without bloodlust, you know?
Well,
'Cause
I
I-
mean,
I
one of the
think that's-
things. Yeah. Okay. I understand. Well. First of all, I don't play that well as a killer. I'm not a veteran as you guys. So this is one of those things where I'm like, I would have to really get serious about playing the game, and I'm not that kind of guy that goes hardcore. Even though I enjoy things like other games like Dark Souls and stuff like that. I'm not that.
But
The nurse for you, if you want.
Well, I just try to learn her, and I mean it's fun when you get the hang of it.
but the thing about
kind of
when people just really quick when people say bloodlust is good because it lets new killers who aren't as good at chasing actually catch survivors, that just creates the whole crutch thing, you know?
Yeah,
Because
I
if
don't think
people start
they
to
do
people
that,
start
though.
to rely on it, and it turns into a crutch, and the crutch, for anyone that's listening that doesn't know, crutch basically means it's something that a new player can use to perform well, but in the long run, or maybe for a more experienced player, it doesn't help them or even hinders them, and that's what bloodlust does, in my opinion. Unless you're like at a true infinite where you would need bloodlust. In most cases,
Yeah, we
I don't
don't-
really have any use for bloodlust.
I don't
as
think
a
anyone here
decently
really
well-playing
wants
killer.
to make your game experience worse. I think what it comes down to is we want a compromise that works for everyone.
Yeah.
And when Tofu, the way he worded it, I think might have been. I think what he was trying to say was not that you have to play well enough to outplay survivors, but you know, if you're at the lower ranks and you want those shorter chases, the survivors have to be better in order to avoid you, because ultimately killer is just capitalizing on survivor mistakes.
Yep.
And right now, if your bloodlust doesn't kick in, survivors fucking basically can't make mistakes dropping pallets. It's a joke. You press spacebar within a mile of a pallet and you're on the other side and the dude in front of you gets stunned. So yeah, there's a lot of it'll be easier to catch survivors is kind of what we're getting at. Without bloodlust, that's what we want to see.
You mean with the map design, right?
With map design and
with map redesign.
A huge one. Map design and pallets. Pallets need to be completely overhauled to the way they were before, where dropping them wasn't safe. Because pallet looping exists because dropping pallets is safe, so you can loop them for longer. That's why it exists. So if that gets tweaked, then it'll be a lot easier to hit people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
I agree, and that was definitely more well put. Yeah, because I think the whole idea of like you catching survivor. I think if you're struggling to catch a survivor, you know, in our hypothetical balanced, I think would be because of faulty matchmaking. Basically, if you're playing against, you know, people of your own skill level, you would be able to catch them, you know, relatively quickly. You wouldn't have those like 5-gen chases like pretty much ever. You know
Especially, imagine if you're a guy who just bought the game, worst case scenario, on the 13th of the month, and you're ranked 20 and you're playing against people who were like red ranks, purple ranks, as a rank 20, as a kill who just started out, and you just get bullied the entire game as a kill, and you don't even get a hit.
I don't know why a rank reset is a thing. To be honest, it's such a joke.
It's awful.
That might change though with the badge update.
Yeah,
We
that
never
might
know.
change. We don't know
Fingers
yet.
crossed,
so.
man. That shit's stupid. I don't feel good bullying people at all at low rank.
Same. Every time rank reset happens, I just feel shitty for like a week until I get like both my ranks back.
The game just turns into a whole
Like
different game
last
because
month was like it lined up with a free weekend.
yes, oh my god,
that was the worst.
The game is so weird because when you're playing killer, you have like two people who are completely new and they have no idea what they're doing, and then the other people are like pretty experienced survivors. And then as a survivor, like playing as a survivor it's just weird. It's weird. The game feels a lot different.
Well, I mean, we are definitely different because I sort of like it when there's a rank reset and I get to
there's
meet
a
people that are a little bit
Which is,
out.
you know,
of
there's a
my
cool
skill
element
range.
to it, but
And I
it's
can
like
play babysitter. You know, like teach him a lesson.
I mean, I always see it as an opportunity to learn a new killer,
yes,
but I don't know.
Yep.
It's you know, you can kind of work around it.
But something I wanted to interrupt, so I didn't really
problem,
say
no
it.
problem.
Yeah. About the whole like survivors being like kills being able to catch survivors more easily with hopefully at some point reworked maps. It's like maybe that's something really obvious, but it's not like when a survivor is caught in the best case scenario, like against good killers that don't camp. That's why as a survivor you have theoretically at least 3 chances, you know? It's not like Friday the 13th where if you get caught you're done for. So if anyone knows what I'm trying to say, it's I agree that a good survivor should be able to evade a killer for a long time.
Forever.
I mean, right now it's
not
probably
forever.
for the
No,
entire
absolutely
game.
not forever.
Yeah,
Not for-
absolutely.
I
They'd have
mean-
to drop
Right.
pallets, and then pallets don't last forever.
But that's why you have 3 chances as a survivor, in theory, and your teammates can also just leave you on the hook and you die, and then that's your teammates' fault and not the killer being a scumbag. I hope.
Yeah. Maybe the reason they sort of want the killer to catch a survivor, even though that survivor might be like the most professional survivor you ever fucking meet, is that at some point they want them to like play with the teammates, and you know they should be unhooked at some point probably.
I don't think you should be playing against those super survivors ever. That's a matchmaking problem.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean sometimes
If you
it does
play how
happen.
you say, you know, where like you're just playing casually and you don't want to get super into the game, then you shouldn't be playing against these really good players.
I agree. I've heard some stories of people like apparently people like D-rank on purpose to like
Oh,
rank like
God.
15, 16 and then like go like survive with friends for flashlight squad and bully new killer. That shit's ridiculous. That needs to be like addressed, honestly. I don't think like low rank killers should ever be playing against like actual good survivors. That's it. Like no wonder they don't have fun. Like that's ridiculous. You know, every
Well,
time
I
I
mean-
play against a new killer,
I
I
mean,
feel
at
terrible.
at a certain point, I remember where basically everyone I knew de-ranked themselves to like rank 10, but that was because rank 1 matchmaking was just utter garbage. And nobody wanted to be rank 1 because it'd take you half an hour to get into a single game.
Oh, what is that, like 2 months ago?
Yeah, that was not that long ago, I think.
And
Isn't it
at
still
this
a
point,
meme?
at this point, people who just de-rank is what you described, just to go like 4 months or with friends, it rank 80, rank 20, and just make a new killer who just bought the game refund.
For their survivor frag montages, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Watch me 360 this brand new killer who just bought the game 4 times.
When you
Slap
fucking
some-
spin the killer so much, he stops lunging.
Slap some dubstep on that shit. We got a montage.
No,
No, you need
it's
shitty
hip-hop.
rap music.
It's
dude.
hip. It's
Shitty rap music, that's what it is.
It's shitty hip hop. Dude, you gotta you gotta put
Lil
like a
Uzi,
you gotta put
Lil
like
Yachty.
you gotta put like a black and white filter over it, and then you gotta go on an alt account. You gotta be like sick editing, dude.
I remember when Shaman was sacred.
Oh.
I don't
I
think
don't
that-
understand people who make montages for this game. I really don't. This is like the last game I would ever make a montage about, like a serious montage.
No, the Lilliface one that was on the Reddit a few days ago, when he came out with the pain train. That fucking shit was so good.
But it's like But then
Killer
again, it was just
montage
like
is
a
sick.
bunch of clips of someone mowing down people as
Yeah.
Leatherface. Like, what are you gonna show as a killer? The montage,
He's the
except
pain
you peop-
train.
I guess. I don't know.
Anyway, I also would like to say that I sort of disagree with the idea that a new killer should never be able to go up against a team that has like the team that has like all purple flashlights with battery and odd bulb and stuff like that. It's gonna happen at some point, and and I mean, I've tried it many times, and you're gonna feel really shitty about it. But I think that's okay, because as killer, you have so many options and you have so much power that most of the plans don't usually work that well.
Yeah, I actually
Killer's having
disagree
power.
for how the game
Excuse
is right now. Like how the game is right now, I gotta disagree. I think like especially as a brand new killer, I don't think you have enough
Any
power to
problem.
deal. Especially if those survivors are actually like supposed to be rank 1 and they deranked on purpose. Like if they're actual really good survivors with like OP items, I don't think you have the power, to be honest. Like if you're a newer killer, you know, even an experienced killer sometimes doesn't have the power.
If you get a shitty map
Right.
with like 2 double safe pals back to back, like
No,
a decent
I
survivor
have
just run you there for like 3 minutes. Stupid. And they'll get 4 gens done in that time.
Well, I mean, then it's gonna
Line
be
generator's
oversold
done.
anyway, right?
Gen Rush Metal, brand new part.
See,
Gen Rush
like-
is toxic.
See, but like I think what you described would be accurate as far as like what are like, you know, fucking fancy utopia of what Dead by Daylight should be. You know, I think it would be accurate to that. I think if the game was balanced, you know, like if map balance was there and everything, I think then yeah, the killer would have enough tools that it wouldn't be so bad. You know, I still don't think it should happen. I don't think you should play against people who clearly should be rank 1 when you're brand new to the game. But you know, hypothetically, if the maps were balanced correctly, I think you would have the tools to like deal with it. You know.
But maybe I should rephrase it. I think it is like it's terrible if it becomes a big problem. But I think for one game, it should be fine. Because I mean, it's okay to lose a game. I find.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. A lot of people have trouble losing in this game. It's
Yeah,
depressing.
and then they are so salty about it as well. It's
Yeah.
it's a thing.
But
Just
then,
to be positive, you know.
I
Then
agree. I
then
play
again-
against 4-man brand new parts all the time. You know, it happens. Sometimes you get shit on, and you just gotta move on. You know.
then again, I think kind of the beauty in this game is that you can make up your own winning condition for both roles, and I think like pretty much all of them are totally valid. Like as a killer, you can say, I didn't win the game if I didn't double pip, you know, and that's
Yeah.
that kind of changed with the introduction of Victory Cube, because now killers actually have a set winning condition, which is to kill 2 people.
Well, I mean, my favorite is just put on Franklin's Demise and make sure they don't leave with those flashlights. Anyway.
So I think we trailed
I
off
mean-
of Bloodlust a bit there.
Yeah, we
Go back to
trail
Bloodlust?
off.
Let's go back to Bloodlust. Let's go back
Back
to
on
Bloodlust.
Bloodlust.
All right. Boom. We're at
What's
Bloodlust
next?
again.
I like the drumming. 10 out of 10. It's getting me hype about Bloodlust. I'm not gonna lie.
I love Bloodlust.
It's like the
Bloodlust,
drumming
throw it on
in
the
the
trapper.
chases.
The game is fixed. We fixed the game.
Just put more
Trapper
drums in the
upside time
chase music.
efficiency, just
Put more drums in the
More
chase
drums
music
in
and
the
killer
chase
will be
music.
fun again.
That's all you can fucking hear.
Fuck.
Jungle
Oh.
music.
When you look towards the survivor, the drums get louder. When you look away, they get quieter. No,
I actually made a list of things that I think might be a good idea to sort of with the game with Bloodlust intended. What I would how can I phrase this correctly? Things I would put into the game to make the experience better for everyone. Meaning both people who like you guys who do not like Bloodlust at all. Maybe there's something that can be done about this that could leave
50-50 for me,
anyone
but
more happy.
alright.
I mean, I'm down. I'm down to hear it.
All right. Well,
throw-
like, some of the things I thought of was like, for instance, if you're a survivor and you find that Bloodlust is incredibly terrible. Of course, there's going to be at some point, because I know the devs are planning on adding more stealth elements to the game, which is definitely going to help. I think the ending the chases in the survivor's favor instead of ending the chase in the killer's favor. But anyway, like things you could use to deepen bloodlust would be like maybe make a obsession perk for the survivor called maybe Soothing Presence or something, where basically bloodlust from that survivor in particular is gained slower. I think that's a thing I would be perfectly fine with.
That, I mean, yeah, but that would be just. I mean, I was gonna say that just be like the next perk in the I will run you around these pallets for 5 generators and there's nothing you can do about it perks then. You know, you get the split burst, get the decisive strike. No,
I'd rather have decisive strike and restart the chase altogether than have it build slower.
I mean, you could run them both then, couldn't you?
Yep.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
There you go, buddy.
And the chases would last forever. That's basically like a make chases last longer perk, which is probably not.
Which isn't something that should be enforced at all. Like with all these second chance perks we got already, because this, as I said, this is a catch release game and not a catch and you're done for game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, catch and release sometimes. Sometimes you get released. Sometimes he roots his feet into the ground.
Nobody ever uses decisive strike, don't you know?
You shall not pass.
Jesus
What?
Christ!
Oh my
the
god.
fuck?
Is that Laurie Strode?
What? I think it should have been you shall not Pip.
Whatever, man. Hey, you want to talk? I heard a fucking really cool thing the other day.
Dude. What's
I
really
was
cool
listening to some boys. I'm sorry. What's up? You said something. What'd you say? Speak.
Oh, dude.
Who said what? What?
No, never mind. Okay, sorry. I'll back on it.
Are you okay?
What just happened?
I was listening to a dev cast from another developer, not the DVD devs. I don't watch that shit. From the Fortnite developers, and they were talking. This dude used this fucking amazing analogy, and it was he was talking about game design and the problems within the game, and how they wanted to address them, and how people were asking for this, but it's like we can't change that because a game exists. He said it exists like a tree, where there's mechanics that are like the core or the trunk of the tree, and then there's branches and twigs that stem off of that, and you don't really want to tweak the branches or the twig mechanics. So in DBD example, that kind of thing would be like perks or items before you fix the core mechanics of the game. So like the trunk, which would be map design. Palette mechanics. Map design is a little higher up. I would say that's the trunk, and then like if we're getting into the roots of the game, would definitely be shit like bloodlust, weapon cooldown, hook mechanics, palettes, whatever, that kind of shit. So
like very basics, yeah.
Yeah, those are the very core, because as soon as you change any of those core mechanics, it affects everything else on the tree. So if you fuck up those core mechanics, branches are gonna start falling off. Which is it takes a pretty fucking good. This is why game design is so tricky, because you need to be able to immediately identify what is a trunk mechanic and what is a branch mechanic.
And what is a leaf opinion?
Can I just say that game dev sounds like a god among men?
Yeah, the Fortnite devs, the PvE shit, like, it's a little messy right now, but they're doing a really good job of improving it. And the PvP devs are they're like Megamind, Albert Einstein shit, dude. They're so fucking good. They're so good at what they do. It's so refreshing playing a game with good devs. Anyways, I digress.
Oof. Talking about trees, somebody's throwing shade over
I will here. I'm about to throw a little bit of shade, but only through actual fucking game design. You might have noticed recently that a lot of the changes made to Dead by Daylight in order to fix core trunk problems have been branch and leaf changes, boys. We've gotten perks. We've gotten perks. We've had changes to the fucking branch. Okay, I don't even use this analogy anymore. You already fucking understand. So like the smaller mechanics, perks. We've gotten perks to resolve shit like infinites, or not infinites, or did we? I don't know. Camping. So camping is like that's the hook. That's like the base of the game. The hook is right in the fucking heart of the game. That's and we got perks. We got little perks that we need to run if we want to do anything about camping. And then that's what a lot of the game development has been around, is just changing perks that already exist in order to improve how the game plays instead of fixing the core mechanics. So shit like hiding not being viable, we just make a perk that makes you really fucking fast when you crouch. Or we make a perk that and it can work, but ultimately the fundamental issues are still there and they still need to be addressed.
Well, I mean, the thing I would say there is that would assume that you believe that those like the thing with camping on the hook, like face camping or something, is a problem that or is actually a problem.
It is a problem. I'm not saying that the killer being near the hook and defending the hook is a problem, but the killer sitting in front of the hook removing any and all play for the next 2 minutes now.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
That's not even like an opinion. Like that's a problem. Like
you can't debate that. That's 2 minutes of no gameplay in a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they remove that, how can we punish toxic survivors?
Oh, I want to hear what Emil has to say. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, though, if you did watch the last dev stream like I do, you would see that rotating hooks are coming soon.
I'm scared.
Yeah, me too, actually. But well, I mean, face camping is not really a viable strategy, and they also did go through a bunch of data on that, and it does hurt your points. So
it hurts your points, but does it hurt your kills? People, they look at stats and shit, but nobody's actually gone out and done field testing.
Actually, it was talked about that, like, basically, if you camp face camp basically right now. I don't remember actually, but it was in the last stream. You should watch it. The stats
I've
guy
heard
was
their
amazing.
stats before, and they're very misleading. I don't trust those stats for 1 second. So
well, I mean,
if you've got other bases, then cool. But dev stats.
Well, okay.
Like,
I mean,
what was it? A few months ago? Iron Grasp was like the top run perk, and that perk was fucking dog shit like the whole time. So they're saying the best perk is Iron Grasp, and it's like, no, it's not. More people run it. It doesn't make it the best perk.
Well, I mean, surely they meant the most used perk.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, of course, not everyone is going to get agitation. I mean, it also has to be unlocked. And of course, Iron Grasp is not unlocked. So, I mean, I would say that's probably why it is there. But anyway, to go back to bloodlust. I mean, sorry, face camping. Yep. I do not think, from what I understand from the devs, I don't think that face camping, as a core problem is something that they see as a core problem. Because of how their design philosophy is. They want to make this mimic a slasher flick. And so basically face camping, guarding a hook is gonna be part of that experience.
Yeah, guarding a hook, absolutely.
It's gotta be gritty.
And that means also face camping is gonna be enabled.
Well, here's the thing is face camping, if it's tweaked, I'm okay with it. I'm okay if the killer's really strong around the hook, you know, trying to save your friend from the killer. I get what you're saying. As a slasher dynamic, that's going to be part of the game. It is fun.
Yeah.
Right now it's not, but it can be fun. Fighting the killer at the hook is where the game is honestly at its best, or was at its best. Right now it's in a really fucking bad state, where if the killer sits in front of the hooked survivor, there's nothing the survivor can do to save their friend. There is absolutely nothing. There is no play there that will get that survivor off the hook, right? You know how
Borrowed time.
standing in front. No.
If he's body blocking it, you can't.
If he stands in front of the hook, the prompt doesn't appear.
All right,
You
but
cannot
that's
unhook.
probably why they're adding the turnable hook, so you can
But then-
unhook from
but
any
then you
Yeah,
angle.
but even
have
then, the
to
person
run a
that's being
perk.
unhooked is
You're still
completely
getting
open to be
tunneled.
hit back down by the killer. So there's still no chance of saving that person. Now you could say borrowed time, but once again, going back to the tree analogy, borrowed time is a leaf being used to fix a core problem with the game.
Well, I mean,
The tree
I
is
mean-
rotten. The tree's been rotten for the longest time. We need to fix this.
okay. I mean, I must say though that I disagree on the point of perks being basically the leaf in that analogy. I mean, I see perks as more being the tree trunk, basically, and I mean for the survivors they have other options. They do not have to save that guy. I mean, it's sometimes maybe it's okay to let the guy die on the hook.
For sure. But that doesn't mean working generators should be the only option, you know?
Well, yeah, but I mean that's why you have borrowed time, and soon it's going to be a more effective strategy against face campers.
But who's going to face camp with like the rotating hook here? Like
People will still do it. People will still camp.
People
will
will
Yeah,
still
they
like
will
stand
never
right
still
next to
do
the
it.
hook, you know.
They always still do it because I mean people are idiots and they don't know.
But what I
It's
mean
not
is
a
like
method of getting
the extreme
kills. Matter
the
of
extreme face camping where you
taking
just
out
stand in front of the
the
hook and ignore other survivors and just you can't do anything to save the person on the hook. That'll be gone.
I think maybe you misunderstand. Maybe not misunderstand. That sounds no. Sorry. I should better explain the analogy. If you were to change one perk, unless it gave survivors like 300% movement speed, it will never ever be the core for the game.
Right.
Because it doesn't have as much of an effect on the rest of the game as changing just base killer move speed or palette interactions. Like, well, what I'm saying is, if you were to change, which I consider palette drops as a mechanic, the timing, the safety, whatever, to be a core of the game, if you were to change when the stun happened during dropping a pallet and how the survivor moved as they went through the mechanic, that would affect almost every other single mechanic in the game. It would change how killers. It would change how you'd have to design maps. It would change how survivors would have to run around pallets. It would change everything. Perk builds, like you might not even need to run perks. This is why they're leaves. Like brutal strength, people probably wouldn't want brutal strength nearly as much as a result. Enduring too, you don't need to take that stun because looping it one more time, stuff like that would fall off. So it would affect everything else in the game.
Yeah,
And
I understand.
okay.
Maybe I should be more clear because I probably have a different interpretation of the analogy than basically my analogy would be that the leaf is every individual player's experience with the game, and basically everything that the game is and everything that the game can do is going to end up on basically our table or in our game. And that's going to have to shape how we feel about the game. That's how I'm thinking about it. So, and I think perks are like it's deeper than just a leaf, in my opinion.
Twin experience, just whatever. But you're right. They're definitely part of the game. And what you can do is you can change every single perk to fit around how the game currently exists. But that's very surface level thinking, and it doesn't once again the core problem still exists. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. What was the core problem again? You said
The core problem with the game right now is the complete lack of skill mattering. There is no fucking outplay in Dead by Daylight right now.
Right.
I could
mean,
be best survivor world, and if this guy WM1s me, I die. You know, that
Game
kind of thing.
feels-
Unless I have perks.
The game
But that's
feels
not
very
skill.
on
That's
the
not
very on
me outplaying
rails.
him. Yeah, it's linear as fuck.
Okay, I mean, I sort of want to say I disagree here too.
Okay, sure. That's if you want to explain for sure.
I mean, I see when I pick perks, for instance, when I play Survivor, is that I'm going to have the foresight. This is my battle plan of what I'm going to equip myself to be good at or bad at. And so basically, I don't, for instance, sometimes I don't run borrowed time at all. So basically, when I see someone go on the hook, I just stay and fix generators, and that's my bad plan. I think
Your battle plan is stand still M1.
my battle plan is fixing generators while they
Dynamic.
What?
It's not dynamic. You just kind of I see what you're saying is, you know, the perk variety. I'm not saying perk variety is a bad thing. I think having lots of perks to choose from, assembling builds for different ways of playing the game is fantastic.
Yeah, what do you mean? Okay.
Sorry,
Yes.
Continue on.
Yeah, it's just like you say it's not dynamic. What does that mean?
Dynamic meaning lots of choices when you're in the game. You know, different things to do. So, for example, you said right now if someone gets hooked and you don't have borrowed time, you're just going to work generators, and that's all you're going to do.
Well, that was my battle plan.
You
Yeah.
have one optimal choice. Yeah, that's one battle plan, unless you equip this one perk.
Well, I mean, I could go for it, but I mean, I'm a shitty player, so I'm not going to.
Speaking from a good player perspective, it's not much different unless you have that perk, which is there you go. That's once again, there's not so much.
Well, I mean, I've seen some survivors do it.
Oh yeah, it can happen if the killer's bad, but if he stands in front of the hook.
Yeah, it depends on how the. I mean, but like most of the way the killers play, like lately, it's not going to do you any good.
That still like depends on a black and white choice. Like if the killer makes the choice to actually hit the person that's trying to save, or if he's just going to stand there and block the hook.
Choice is good.
Well, literally, what it comes down to is exactly what Flair's saying. Is it comes down to the trunk of the game, which is the hook mechanics and all that jazz. You know, like we're helpless right now in the hook mechanics. So like if a killer stays near the hook, you literally have nothing to do but do gens, which takes away like choices and different varieties of gameplay. Like they lead you to one play style, which is just doing gen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
you can definitely change up how you play the game with different perks, and it'll definitely impact your game experience. And I think that that's a good thing, so long as it doesn't mess with core mechanics. But yeah, ultimately, it's once you've picked those perks, they're set in for the match, and then you play the game very one-track minded. There's not much to really be done.
Right, but so I mean, you cannot change your perks mid-game. You sort of want maybe everyone could have a little bit of every perk or something like that, so that you could basically make up your own mind as you play the game, basically. Is that it? No.
Like I personally think that I would like to see the game so that you wouldn't need perks to play in like a nice variety of a play style. Like I think perks could benefit you in different play styles, but I don't think it should be to the point where like if you don't have borrowed time, good luck ever saving people. Like that shouldn't be. Like, you should still be able to, like, maybe borrowed time would help you, or perks like will make it, you know, would help you. But I don't think it should be restricting in like the vanilla version of the game. Like perk lists shouldn't restrict you from anything, you know. Perks should only benefit you in doing, you know, what you can already do.
Yeah, perks are as you kind of describe different flavors, different playstyles, different battle plans. They can kind of help you towards that.
Yes.
And I think they should feel impactful. But what's happening right now is when perks should be branches, they're being cemented as part of the trunk. And that creates issues where you can't play the game if you don't have perks. So there you go, back to the whole no outplay thing.
Right. But I mean, the problem then is like the game is doing pretty good. I mean, it's not finished.
The game's doing pretty good in like sales?
The game's not finished. The
game
game's
is
been
not
released
finished.
over a year ago.
Well, I mean, it's
What do you
still
mean
They're
by
not
it's
done developing
finished?
it. They're not done developing it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I hear
exactly.
that.
I mean, there is the whole stealth thing, which they need to definitely upgrade on that regard. So I mean, it's sort of like um, there's gonna be improvements everywhere, and I think the unhooking from every side is a thing they should have done like a fuck ton of time ago when they
I mean,
first teased
it was there before.
Yeah, it
This
was
is a
there at
mechanic
some
that
point.
already existed, arguably in a better iteration. When the game first came out, you drop
They
items to
removed
clip
it.
through the killer and then unhook. You could also fake unhook so that way the killer couldn't grab you if he was sitting right behind the hook and you would get the unhook. So all of these mechanics that they're adding in are just watered down versions of better mechanics that we've had before, which is I think it really says something.
At least they're acknowledging that it was a bad idea to remove them. It's something.
It's
I mean,
it's
glitching
something.
through the
It's
killer.
something. They're recognizing that something needs to be done. I don't want to say step in the right direction because I don't necessarily know if adding these directional unhooks will improve the quality of the game right now. But it could it be tweaked into a better mechanic eventually? Yeah, but it has to be tweaked before they bring it out. Otherwise, what's going to happen, I think, is you're going to unhook in front of the killer. The killer's going to hit that person back down. And then instead of that person being on the hook, keeping the killer there, adding pressure so you can actually work generators and play around it, the person's just going to get farmed and that's game over.
Well, I think that's also why they're adding perks like barbecue and chili, which are going to incentivize the killer to go elsewhere.
The killer is face camping though. They don't care about going
For
after
sure.
other people. They want to punish that survivor that they caught.
Incentivizing people to leave the hook, incentivizing killers to leave the hook is definitely good. But it's not the be all end all. The problem still exists, and if the killer chooses to face camp, they can. So that's why we need the
Right, but I mean, if the player who's the killer and the face camper is gonna do that anyway, I mean, he's basically going to take that one on the guy on the hook hostage until he dies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no way around that. I mean, and I also think that the devs actually think that's probably what would happen in a horror scenario.
That's
you
can't bring realism as an argument for
Yeah.
game design.
Yeah,
choices.
like if
It's
they
kind of
really
wonky.
want to, if they want to design their game around mechanics that destroy fun for the sake of realism for horror movies, then have fun having a dead game because no one's gonna play it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, if I hit someone with a chainsaw running at 40 miles an hour, I'm gonna cut them in fucking half. So that
Yeah.
dude better be crawling around at like 50% less speed and bleed out in 3 seconds when I hit him.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't.
The reason
I
that
didn't
doesn't
ex-
exist is because for game design decisions, that wouldn't be fun.
Well, I mean, I didn't exactly say realism. I mean,
you said
well,
you said from the perspective of a horror, but people live in horror movies, dude.
what
All the
what do
Laurie
you say?
Laurie Strode has had how many close encounters with fucking Myers?
Yeah, I mean, she has Soul Survivor, and what's the other one? Where Object of Possession.
Decisive strike, stab him in the neck with the fucking coat
Yeah,
hanger.
she's cheating. Face camping.
What I'm trying to Jesus fucking Christ, man.
Sorry.
Killers should have power around the hook, but they shouldn't have as much power as they have right now because it's awful from a game design perspective.
I'd
Should they
rather
have power on the hook? Yes. Should they be a force to be feared? Yes. Should they be fucking a statue standing in front of the hook preventing you from doing anything at all? In a multiplayer game? No.
I mean, I just don't. Well, I mean, I don't
You
play
don't think there
Survivor
should
that
be
much.
gameplay?
I don't play Survivor that much, so. But I don't know exactly how big of a problem this camping thing is. But in the Survivor games I play, it's very minimal. I run into that person, and if I do, it's like, oh, I get more time to do generators. Lucky me.
E
Do you play with other people? Survive with friends?
I used to at some point, yeah.
How long ago was that? Was that like when face camping was
I think
uncomfortable? Or?
I think it's about running up maybe 7 months ago or something.
Oh yeah, back when you could unhook when the killer was face camping. You got to be really open minded to consider that everyone playing the game is someone looking to have fun, and nothing sucks more than when your friend goes on the hook and there's nothing you can do about it.
Right. But I mean, going. I mean, you said I could not use the argument of horror realism, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what the vision of the game is.
Like, it sucks. Then
it's going to be. Well, I mean, of course, horror movies would really suck if they were you and your friend died. I mean.
See, but like that's just it. Though. It's like we're not watching a movie; we're playing an interactive video game, where we want to be interacting and having a good time.
I love playing shooters, but I don't love getting shot in the face, and I don't think I'd like shooting other people in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the main difference between horror movies, because in a horror movie, you might find it. I don't know. Maybe think it's funny that the guy is getting, and that guy is dead and the friends can't do anything to save them. But like in a video game, that's not the way to go.
Yeah, no, in case it's not happening to you.
Well, I mean, I think I would disagree there. I think it could be a way to go, and I think that's the way they're going.
Why do you think it should be a way to go?
Well, I mean, because
it's not. Dead by Daylight isn't a simulator.
Well, I mean, it sort of is. I mean, it's a horror. I mean,
it's a horror game, but it's not a simulator.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's why there's a ranking system. It's yeah. Maybe the game doesn't know what it wants to be, and maybe that's why we're getting so many bad changes.
Probably. But I mean, I still think it's okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with when my friends get on the hook there. Sometimes we have tried. I remember we tried to. Maybe someone can distract the killer, and then someone else runs in and unhooks, and that works sometimes against those, but not against those who face camp and guard exactly. I mean, I do agree that's a problem, but I don't think it's just a problem that is going to go away and probably in a way you probably would like.
It could very easily go away, and they're working towards it. I don't.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be less of a problem over time for sure, because it still is a problem. I just don't think it's going to be solved in the way you suggest.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be solved in the way I want it to be solved either.
All right.
Which is kind of, yeah.
All right then, gentlemen.
We still didn't discuss bloodlust.
I was about to step in here because this isn't. We're trailing off way far, so I think we're just gonna go into the second topic and probably the last one. It's probably not going to last that much longer too, because 2 weeks ago they announced some pretty spicy buffs that they have planned for the Wraith. Long-awaited, very much deserved buffs. I'd like to go through them really quickly and maybe... these aren't final. Obviously, these were 2 weeks ago. I thought they were going to have them out by now, but turns out they're actually not going to be out until the Halloween event, which is on the 26th. Which starts on the 26th, I mean. So, we have like another 2 weeks. But, we can work with what we got. So, small overview of what devs are currently considering for the Wraith. Overall, growling noise will be quieter. Time to cloak, not to uncloak, to go into stealth will be reduced to 1 second flat. Wraith's uncloak time will remain unchanged, however, while uncloaking he will move as fast as running survivors. The bell sound range will be changed to 24 meters, add-ons like the Bone Clapper will not change this. However, Wraith's whoosh cloaking sound will be changed from global to 56 meters. Here there's a little there's a little comment that they may change this if it turns out to be too large. Bone Clapper and the Coxcomb Clapper, those add-ons will affect this range by 15 and 30%. And the big change is that while you're cloaked, you will go into a sort of borrowed time mode. Your vision will kind of turn black and white, and bloodstains, and scratch marks will be much brighter, and you will basically, as the dev said, have no way of actually missing blood and scratch marks while you're cloaked. And he will be able to break generators and pallets while cloaked. And they showed us a small clip where he partially uncloaked, which I think looked pretty sick, if you ask me. So yeah, I think that sounds pretty good.
I'm worried about a few things. I don't know how I feel about him moving at survivor speed when he's uncloaking. I feel like that'll make his play pretty straightforward. Cloak, run up behind them, uncloak. Instead of thinking about positioning, body blocking, where you want to uncloak from, where you want to force them to. But I like a lot of it.
Yeah, same. I think I think Krill said something in my chat about it, but I think the whole 56 meter range for the noise is kind of a joke because that's basically global.
Yeah,
that's not that much shorter than than object of obsession size. That's pretty big. That's I don't know. I guess
what was it? The whoosh?
Yeah. I guess you could run add-ons to make it go quieter or whatever.
But Windstorm,
it's the whole map.
Yeah, especially if it's a small map and you're in the middle, good luck.
It sounds like it's made to be reduced by the add-ons.
Yeah, I think that's what it sounds like.
But it's 15 and 30%. It's nothing.
Well, I mean, you stack them, it's almost 50%. I mean, that makes it 20 some meters, right? I mean, that wouldn't be too bad. Maybe 30 meters. I think.
So the sorry to interrupt, but the brown add-on will reduce it by 8.4 meters, and the yellow one will reduce it by 16.8. So 8 meters from 56 and 16 from 56. That's pretty. I wouldn't use an add-on on that.
Yeah, and honestly, that is a thing. The whole quieter whoosh isn't really. I feel like that's not that big of a deal. You can do some fancy stuff with it, where you mind game people when they're not knowing whether you're cloaked or uncloaked or whatever. But I don't know if it'd be worth running at. Well, I guess maybe it would be. I don't know. I feel like it just wouldn't be very worthy of stacking double add-ons for it.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's a probability because when you're probably going to be uncloaking, you're going to attack the person probably next to you instead of mind gaming the one who is probably 52 yards away or something.
I mean, they said that the 1 second to cloak was to encourage cloaking during a chase.
Yeah, might be a possible thing to do.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of. I know whether complete invisibility will just not be a thing because that'd be a little ridiculous. But I kind of like the idea if they want to use cloaking during a chase, so that you use the cloak during a chase to maybe pop up from in front of them, cut them off, But that doesn't really work if they can still see you while you're cloaked,
Maybe if they could rework the add-ons as well, giving him complete invisibility as a ultra rare add-on. Oh, that'd be a total boner.
But that's the same. It's not the same on the power level, but it's still the whole iridescent head thing, where you have just one ultra rare add-on that gives the killer just so much stupid power.
It kind of, I don't know, whatever, man.
Add-ons are fun. Put them on.
Add-ons are fun, but you can make them fun without making them horrible to play against.
Yeah, I kind of hate that there's certain add-ons in this game that just completely, like, on both sides too, like odd bulbs, brand new parts, fucking iridescent heads, infinite tier 3 Myers, like
what if
I don't
there
know,
is an
man.
add-on for Myers, or not Myers, what if there's an add-on for Wraith that let you move at like Bloodlust 3 speed or even more all the time when cloaked, but the cloaking was like the cloak how it is now? Would that add-on be fun for you?
I'd probably have fun with that.
Emil, what do you think about that add-on? Does that sound like fun?
I mean, he moves at Bloodlust 3 speed, and then he's
maybe
able to uncloak
chainsaw speed even. Maybe he moves even at chainsaw
faster.
speed, but he has a pretty big penalty to.
Well, I mean, then he's going to be. Well, I mean, he's going to have the new uncloaking, where he moves at the survivor speed.
That's why I'm saying is the part of the uncloak add-on would be that.
I think they also mentioned that they're gonna buff the movement speed to Bloodlust 2, though. So
Yes.
Yeah, there was something about that.
I'm just suggesting that this add-on, I think it would be really fun to play with.
I don't
Zooming
think it
around
would
the map.
impair my fun as a survivor either.
Yeah.
So
I.e.,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think, just for it, I don't think having him move a Bloodlust 2 speed while cloak is fast enough, in my opinion. I think Wraith should be, when he's cloaked, like when you see him cloak or something, you should be expecting him to pop out something like way over there a few seconds later. Like, you know, he should move way faster. Not chainsaw speed, but like at least like Bloodlust 3 speed while cloaked.
Bloodlust, yeah. Well, see this. I don't know. That's my idea for Dream Wraith because that makes him, fun to play against.
Because like Wraith's
like
concept, I think what they were trying. Sorry, but I just want to say, like, I think
that's fine.
What they were trying to go for with Wraith 2 was like the whole, he like cloaks and then he pops out somewhere completely, somewhere else, you know.
I mean, that would be very fun. I mean, it would be a real terror to play against, and it would be the glory days of overpowered Wraith.
Exactly, man. That's what I'm saying. Is you're saying you would have fun with that as killer, and
well,
I would have fun with that as a survivor. Whereas completely invisible all the time Wraith that uncloaks in 2 seconds at survivor movement speed, I would not have fun playing against that.
That would be stupid, yeah.
So that's part of it. You gotta understand where the trunk's at, where the branches are at. You gotta think from a trunk perspective versus as game designer, looking at the twigs and then tweaking the twigs. I like this twig a lot. Let's put this twig on the tree. Let's duct tape that on. It works. It fits. No, it doesn't.
All right. Think like a tree. I get it.
There you go, man.
There you go.
Just be the tree, dude. Be the tree.
If I were a tree, where would I be right now?
If you were a tree, you would throw a lot more shade.
Woo! No, that's what I'm all about, man.
Got you.
I throw shade where shade is due.
Oh, all right.
Edge
Well,
master.
yeah. I don't know. Let's see what they're gonna come out with in like 2 weeks when he actually gets through. When they release the buffs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I always liked. I hope that that's what they were going for, but it seems like they're going that for him because like when he cloaks, it kind of feels like he's in a different. He actually is in a different dimension, a different version of the map, because everything like turns up like black and white, so it kind of feels like if anyone has seen Stranger Things, or there's like the other dimension, which is like basically the same, but everything's like dark and foggy and bluish.
Predator? Is that it?
What? No.
The Predator? From the Predator movies? What was it?
I've never seen those. Well, yeah, I like that design. I hope they're going more into that than like, I don't know, he's spooky because he's invisible.
Mm-hmm. You're watching Tofu play against Leatherface. Leatherface is a great example. Leatherface, he's like a great example of game design that is so one-sided, one-track mind. Leatherface playing him and like destroying 4 people in the basement. How do you think that feels as Leatherface? because it feels pretty fucking awesome. But guess what? That's 4 people that you just pissed in their Cheerios, man. You just all over that shit. They're not having fun. They're in the basement. They're eating shit. So you gotta. How can you make Leatherface fun for everyone? That's with every single game design choice you make. You need to think that way in this asymmetrical type of multiplayer game. Designing single player games, you know, they're NPCs. You never give a fuck. You can chainsaw 1,000 survivors in the basement if this was like a PvE game, and it's no problem because you don't have to give a shit about how that NPC feels. Because guess what? He doesn't feel.
Dude,
he doesn't feel anything, which is why it's fine.
That's why these asymmetrical like games never fucking take off. You know, Evolve is dead.
Because game designers are retarded. That's correct. Yes, absolutely.
I miss Evolve so much. I can't even tell you how much I miss that game.
Yeah, it's I don't think they realize like it's asymmetrical. It's not balanced on each side. It's not like each side has the same tools to work with. So you have to. It's a real fine line of making things that are fun but still balanced. You know, but I think making them fun is like the most important thing. You know, if people aren't having fun playing your game, they're not going to play your fucking game. You know,
your game sucks.
Yeah, like people play video games to have fun. They don't play video games to be fucking miserable. You know.
Oh, can we play the clip?
Do you have that clip
saying, "Oh my god"? Hang on.
What clip? What clip?
Of the doctor where he says that he hates him, but he likes that he hates him or whatever. It makes him miserable, but it's a good thing. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I sometimes do not understand that, man. Like oatmeal is a mystery to me sometimes.
I understand him.
I did.
There you go.
I won't say anything about him. I'll just let you listen to the clip. Can we play this on the podcast or not? We'll just put it in the description, maybe.
You can.
Put it on the podcast.
Is it like a YouTube link? Give me.
I put it in the. It's in the chat here. You can. It's a.
Oh yeah, I can totally
clip.
play. Yeah, I think it should like be audible. All right, let's play this. That's all.
Okay, so here's what he said. As a survivor, I hate playing against the doctor.
Wait, I'm playing it.
And he thinks that should be the proper response. Is you should hate playing against the doctor.
And I feel like that should be the proper.
The fuck?
Oh my! Yeah, for anyone like I think Flair kind of just talked over it. Let me just play this again for people that have never seen, that don't watch the death streams. All right, here you go.
Are you currently pleased with the Doctor in Dead by Daylight at the moment? As a survivor, I hate playing against the Doctor, and I feel like that should be the proper response. Are you currently
Jesus
pleased
Christ.
with the Doctor in Dead by
Okay,
Daylight?
you got deleted in the chat. I need a permit.
Oh my god, I can't type thing.
The use of flour has said.
Flour. There you go.
Boom.
Flour to be. Oh my fucking god.
I guess if Flour ever comes in here, I'll be a regular.
The V stands for viciously attacked by Nazi bot.
Oh man.
Nah, but I mean, can we all agree like how stupid that is though? Like how absolutely dumb that is to like.
It's so stupid, man.
Yeah, to be like, yes, this character makes people fucking miserable.
That is good. Awesome. I want this. Yes. This is awesome. Yes.
Exactly what we wanted.
That is what we want. That is what we do here.
His perspective is biased too, dude. He only plays killer. This guy is the head game. This guy is the game director for Dead by Daylight, and he only plays killer, and he doesn't give a fuck about what survivors feel because he play tested it for 30 minutes, and he's like, yeah, this sucks. Put it in the game. I'm not. This is reality. 2017. How big do you think this man's paycheck is for sitting there making people miserable? Seriously, dude, it's scary. It's fucking scary. This guy was physically shaking with rage when he played against Rank 1 survivors live on stream. He missed a lunge and he's like. It's a wild, wacky world, man. We live in a wild world.
That is a wonky ride, man. Fucking hell. It's a wild ride.
Your daily shade.
That's a mammoth tree right there. That's a mammoth tree amount of shade. Let it all out. Release all the sounds that are trapped in your mind. I think this was probably the best closing point we've ever had.
Hey.
I'd like to say though that I think I understand him, and I actually think maybe he's right.
All right, we're done here. Thank you for listening. This was a fun episode. Catch you next
That's
time.
the best one, man. More
Goodbye.
guests.
You can email us. Stuff is in the description, and these people here who actually stream have the links in the description. Goodbye.